Hello everybody, Ranger John here at Huntsville State Park, and today I want to talk to you about mountain biking. It is one of the many great outdoor recreational activities we have here out at the park, and one of our more popular ones. But of course, with any type of challenging and fun activity, there comes certain safety and risks. And today I want to talk about those safety and risks and how you can better prepare yourself and remain safe on our trails while mountain biking. So the very first principle of leave no trace is to prepare and plan ahead. And so when you come out here to visit us, the first couple of things you could do is make sure before you leave home that you are ready for a fun adventure out here mountain biking. And one of the first things you can do is make sure that you dress appropriately. Now, while this uniform looks great and is great for presentation, this is not something I would normally mountain bike in. So let me get changed into something more comfortable. Whew, this is much better. So, when it comes to cycling clothing, some cyclists prefer what they call a cycling kit, which is the form-fitting jersey and shorts. Mountain bikers, though, tend to prefer maybe something a little looser, something light, moisture-wicking, quick-drying. They make some specific mountain bike jerseys out there, but just something, again, just nice, light, loose. They'll wick moisture away and be quick-drying. Nice pair of shorts as well. They do sell, if you want some of the cycling shorts, with what they call a chamois pad in the center, which kind of helps cut down on some of the friction between your legs. They'll make them in a base layer, which you can wear underneath your shorts. Another important safety tool to have is your helmet. Really nice helmet. Mountain biking helmets offer a lot of coverage. They also have quite a bit more in the back area there. And the other thing that I like to wear is a pair of cycling gloves. Two reasons: they got a little padding on the palm, which can help cut down on some of the impact that you have there. Also, when people tend to fall, they put their hands out first, which you don't really want to lock your arms out there, but they will help protect your palms when you land. Now, hydration out there is very important, and a lot of bike shops out there sell bottle cages for the bikes and bottles that you can carry with you. But I will say, when mountain biking, you're going to encounter a lot of impact, especially as you're bouncing over roots and knots and holes in the trail, and so you stand a chance of losing your water bottle. Guess where I found this one? Yep, on the side of the trail, abandoned. So somebody was bouncing around out there. This fell out of their cage and they lost it. I'm hoping they're okay. It's full up, so they're probably on a long ride. But again, that can happen out there. So some mountain bikers prefer going with a hydration backpack. You can get these in a variety of sizes, enough to carry some water for you. It's kind of convenient having it from the hose, but you also have room in there to carry accessories as well. So if you want to know what's in my bag, let's take a look at it. Now, inside my hydration backpack, I like to carry a number of tools and things for the day. If I need to do any repairs, sometimes I'll get a flat tire. I'll bring tire levers, patch kit. If I need a spare tube, I have one of those as well, and then a pump to get me going. I also bring with me a bike multi-tool if I need to make any adjustments on my bike. I also have my little multi-tool as well for any other things. It's got pliers on there and other tools I might need out there in the woods. I also make sure to bring plenty of snacks and a first aid kit as well. Another neat tool to have, which I didn't have in my bag right now, zip ties. Duct tape can come in handy if you need to make any quick repairs, or if any of your cables come loose, zip ties are great for that. You might also, if it's going to rain, bring some rain gear in with you. Sometimes I'll also have a compass in here and map of the area I'm at just to help me out with navigation. And before you leave your home to head out to a park, you want to do a couple of checks on your bike to make sure it's good to go. You want to look through the ABCs. You want to check your air, make sure your air pressure is good. I normally tell people never rely on just a pinch method to see if it's okay. Always put a gauge on it. You can use a pump, like a little floor pump that'll have a gauge on it. If you're camping with us, it's always helpful to bring one of these with you because it'll fill up really quick, has a gauge on it, and most parks don't have a way for you to inflate your tires at the park itself. So a good thing to bring with you when you come out here. The other thing you want to check is the brakes. Make sure both your brakes are working and that they're going to stop and they're not making any type of squealing or rubbing noise. You also want to check the chain. So spin it through a couple times. If you're hearing any creaking or anything like that, you may want to add just a drop of oil to each link just to make sure it's good to go. You don't want to add too much because a wet chain is going to attract dirt. Now, if your bike has been up in storage for a while, it may be a good idea to take it to a local bike shop, have them inspect it, and make sure it's safe to go. You can also take a multi-tool and go through and just make sure all your bolts are tightened down and you're set. After you arrive at the park, it's good to do a last-minute safety check on your bike. Make sure you got all your gear, your water bottles are full, you got snacks. You also want to consider your safety and remember some of the heat hacks we taught you. It's always good if you can ride with a buddy, but either way you should let people know where you're riding and when you plan on being back. Of course, checking in on things like Huntsville or on the Facebook at the Huntsville page can be helpful there. Another thing is always have an ID with you. Just in case an accident happens and someone finds you out there, they can identify you. Now, some people don't like to carry wallets with them, but having that in your bag or an ID with you, there are apps out there that will allow you to have your emergency number on your phone. And there's other companies out there like Road ID, which allows you to carry emergency numbers right on your wrist. So if ever there's an accident, people know who to call for me. So going back to the first leave no trace principle of preparing and planning ahead, you want to kind of plan out your trip on where you're going, and for safety's sake you want to take into consideration your level of riding and physical preparedness for it. Now, being that it is the middle of the day right now in the summer, it is hot out here, humid, and I haven't been on my bike that much with COVID going on, so I'm probably not prepared for the Triple C or the Chicopin Trail. But I do want to go up here to check out the Prairie Branch Loop Trail, so I could easily see myself heading up here and see about coming on down through the dogwood and back. Just keep it nice and easy, comfortable pace, and that's what I'm looking to do. And I want to stress again the importance of staying within your comfort zone. One of the top injuries we see at state parks isn't due to the wildlife or plant life out here. It's mainly due to injuries and falls and a lot of off mountain bikes. So always make sure that you are looking at your distance, looking at the time of day, temperature, weather, and all that, and making sure you are safe. Okay, it puts you and our staff in even more danger if you try and challenge yourself too much. It's always good to challenge yourself, especially on activities like mountain biking, but do remember where your skill level is, and if you don't feel comfortable, don't do it. But anyway, got my helmet on, got my bike set, let's hit the trail. So now that we've done some trail riding, I want to talk to you about two things. First off, trail etiquette, and then trail safety. Believe it or not, there are some rules to mountain biking in the parks, both written and unwritten. So when riding, I'd like to always bring it back to the leave no trace principles. Number 6 and number 7 is what I want to focus on right now. Principle number 6, if you remember, is respect wildlife. So of course that means we want to give wildlife their space. We don't want to be running over or hitting any creatures while we're out there. Another wildlife we want to make sure to respect, though, is horses. Now, some state parks out there allow horses to be on the trail with us in the multi-use trails. So we want to make sure we give them plenty of space. On the priority of trail users, they're at the top because, again, they are large and they can spook easy. So it's always nice if you approach horses to call out well in advance, let the riders know you're there, and then wait for their response to make sure how you can pass and clear them safely. The next one is going to be pedestrians. We always want to make sure to give them plenty of space while riding out there. So this means if you're approaching them, let them know, make sure they see you, and give them plenty of space. If you're coming up behind them, you want to call out well in advance. Some people will just, say, hey, I'm coming up behind you, or got a rider. Some just yell out rider, and it lets them know, and make sure they hear you and look for how they respond. A lot of times you can also say on your left, they should scoot to the right, and you can pass them on the left safely. But always, again, look for them and look for the safest route around them. You also got to respect other mountain bikers while you're out there. So if you are oncoming, call out. If you're coming up behind them and you're faster, call out. If someone is coming up behind you and they're faster, it's always nice and respectful. Step off, let them pass, and then continue on. If you're coming across any blind turn or switchback or anything like that, if you can't see around, best thing to do is just call out. Again, some people just yell out, rider, and it lets people know you're coming. And if you hear someone else call it out, respond back. That way they know you're there. Rider coming up. All right. Thank you so much. Y'all take care. Another bit of etiquette is to make sure to ride designated trails. Now, the majority of trails in state parks are multi-use, but there are some trails out there that are off limits to bicycles. And this is because bicycles can cause a bit more erosion. So this particular trail here runs along Lake Raven here at Huntsville State Park, and sometimes can get a bit wet if the water comes up. And if we get a whole bunch of mountain bikers through here, they'll cause the trail to erode. Some of our hill country trails are the same way, where mountain bikes can end up eroding away the rock. That also brings us to a principle, leave no trace principle number 2. Stay on durable surfaces. So among the mountain bike community, some people will tell you, ride dirt, not mud. Because if you got a soft or muddy trail, riding your bikes through it will put ruts into the trail. And if you've ever ridden into a rut, if there's a little divot dug in there by a bike, and you go through and you try and steer your way out of it, it'll turn your wheel in line with that rut and can throw you off. So it's not safe, and again, it puts wear and tear on the land. Plus, you also end up having a dirty bike at the end. So especially if there's been any rain, if there's been a lot of rain lately, might want to give the trail some time to dry before heading out onto them. One of the nice features out here at Huntsville State Park is we actually have a connection here. This is put on by the Northwest Cycling Club and the Greater Houston Off-Road Biking Association, where it connects to mountain bike trails in the Sam Houston National Forest. Of course, this boardwalk and everything past it is not part of the state park and is not on any of our maps, but you can check out those organizations. They even have a map here at the front of it that you can see as well. Now, the great thing about any time there's bike trails here in a state park or a national forest, they must be accessible to all. So you may find natural obstacles in there, but there shouldn't be any big, large obstacles that make them for advanced riders only. So here at Huntsville State Park, we do have our challenges when it comes to trail riding. One of the obstacles is sand. Now if you make any type of sharp turns while in sand, your wheel might slip out from under you, so it's always good in sand to just try and keep as straight as possible. That is also where some of the wider mountain bike tires come in handy. Or even if you look at your tire pressure, going to the lower end, having that bigger surface area is going to help. The other one is going to be our root systems out here. So this is where you'll hear some people talk to you about taking a line, which means when you're riding your bike, your front wheel is going to go where you look. So if you are heading down this trail here and you see this big gap or big dip down where the root is, if you focus on that only, you're going to hit it. Instead, what you need to do is pay attention to where it's clear, and you'll be a lot safer there. So always pick your line, look for where it's safe, and keep your eye focused on that, and don't look at the obstacles. Of course, another safety tip is all throughout our park here, we have these wonderful benches where you can sit down, relax, get some water, enjoy a little snack, and rest yourself before heading back out. Once you're done riding, it could be a good idea, get your bike hosed off, get it cleaned off of any dirt or debris, hopefully not too much mud that you have on there. Also get it cleaned, any of the salt from the sweat can help erode it, so get it all nice and cleaned and make sure it's dry. Of course, if you're putting on the car rack, you'll probably dry off by the time you get home before it's stored away, and hopefully ready for your next adventure out here. I hope you've enjoyed this video on mountain biking here at Huntsville State Park, one of our many great recreational activities that you can do out here. I want to remind you, think of the leave no trace principles. Prepare and plan ahead. Make sure your equipment's ready, you have the proper tools with you, and the essential safety items you need. Make sure to stay on durable surfaces. Don't ride mud, stick to the trails. You want to respect wildlife. Make sure, especially if you encounter any horses, being careful around them, and respect other trail users, the hikers and other mountain bikers that are out there. And if I can say the biggest safety thing to take away is make sure to know your limits. It's okay to challenge yourself. Out here, there is definitely a lot of challenges to do. But I also want you to know it's okay if you have to hop off your bike and walk it past the difficult section. Just have fun. And y'all take care.